Hey guys, Crewman here, and if you guys watched my 5070 review, which I'll put a link down below and at the end of this video, you'll know that I said I didn't really like it, in the sense that I was very uninspired by it. It basically felt like a side grade at best from the 4070 Super, and it basically just honestly felt like the 4070 Super, just a refresh. But I said if you could get it for MSRP at $550, it represented the best value on the market at this point. And frankly, you should buy a 5070 over a used 4070 Super, as A, the 4070 Super somehow costs more, and B, when you buy new, you get a warranty, and that's important. And it made me think, as I was doing some market research for my next tracking the used market video, I came across the 6950 XT. Currently, this bad boy on the used market goes for about $500. And it made me think that with 16 gigs of VRAM and the ability to overclock it if you so choose, the 6950 XT can be a very powerful GPU. And I was wondering, how does it stack up to the RTX 5070? Frankly, my test results didn't exactly match what I thought for the most part. Now, I tested 5 games. I tested Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, Marvel Rivals, Horizon Forbidden West, Cyberpunk 2077, and Call of Duty. I tried to get a spread of a mix of esports games and heavily ray traced games, along with some games that are also CPU bound. So without further ado, take a look at the results, and I'll let you know my thoughts at the end. I thought that the RX 6950 would do much better than it actually did. Now, the obvious things were I knew it would trade blows in Call of Duty, as Call of Duty seems to be very heavily optimized in AMD's favor, which is weird. And I suspected that they would they would both play about the same in Horizon Forbidden West, where the 6950 XT actually took a slight lead. And I also thought that the 5070 would crush the 6950 XT in a heavily ray-traced game like Cyberpunk 2077. What I was surprised at is how much better the 5070 did in Marvel Rivals, as well as Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Now remember, all of the settings were exactly the same, so you could obviously drop the settings down if you wanted to improve the FPS on the 6950. But I wanted to make sure all the settings were the same so that you could get an accurate representation on what these two GPUs can do against each other. And I must say that at the current market price of about $510 right now for the 6950 XT, it would be hard to recommend this GPU over the RTX 5070 brand new. Now you can overclock this GPU and get a decent amount of performance out of it, especially if you're willing to shove a bunch more power through it, which I may do in a later video. But you can also overclock the RTX 5070 and get like 7% power for doing nothing but a few slider adjustments, which is a lot less involved than overclocking this. And I must say that I would rather spend that extra $50 to get better ray tracing performance and to get that warranty. I think in this day and age, a warranty is very important. And if you're watching a video like this and you're not sure what to buy, then you need to definitely consider a warranty. So I honestly thought that I was going to say save the money and get this, but with their prices so close, and that just goes to show you how bonkers the used market still is right now, yet again, I'm going to have to recommend the RTX 5070. Now, it does have a lot less VRAM at 12 gigs compared to 16 gigs, but don't think that that matters as much. That 4 gigs of VRAM at 1440p, I really don't think that matters. And if we end up going to a lot more heavily ray-traced games like Indiana Jones, then you'll see that this thing won't age nearly as gracefully if you want ray tracing. Because remember, this only has first-generation AMD ray tracing cores, which are definitely showing their age now. Anyway, both GPUs are great. In a vacuum, I would recommend the 5070. But what that also means is if you own a 6950 XT, definitely it's not worth upgrading, and you're going to get a long time out of this thing. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're going to have some more GPU comparisons coming up, and I'm really excited to share them with you. Peace.